include Pastime, the Green Bay Packers fight song, and Olympics, a centennial celebration. The featured soloists tonight are commentators Steve Peterson, Dave Thompson, and referee John Gilliland in Peter Schickli's version of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Please rise and join Dan in singing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, first the gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of all brave?
Thank you, Dan. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports Night. At least that's what I hope it is, or we're dressed awful funny. And it's not going to rain. Okay? But we do have tarps around. Okay, never mind. Tonight's concert is based on music that we associate with athletics, sports themes. Some of them will be very recognizable to you. You'll know them right off the bat. Some of them, not so much. Okay, and one of them is just kind of a goofy, silly thing, and we hope you enjoy that as well. Our first number is one of those that you probably would never associate with an athletic event. It's a very recognizable composition. You'll know it the minute you hear it. It's associated with a movie, and it originally is associated with golf, which I don't know. I don't watch a lot of golf, but I don't know too many musical ideas that are associated with golf. But legend has it that British composer Kenneth Alfred was playing a round of golf at the Fort George golf course in Scotland in 1913. He observed that instead of yelling the standard golf warning of 4 to get somebody... There's an echo in here somewhere. Instead of yelling that warning, they would whistle. And they would whistle a 2-note interval. And I don't know if I can do this. I don't whistle very well, but it's... Now you all know that, and you'll know it quite well as soon as you hear it. Them do it, because, like I said, I don't whistle very well. The result of Mr. Alfred's golf outing was a world-famous march with the familiar golf term bogey in the title. Here's our tribute to golf with Kenneth Alfred's Colonel Bogey March. This concert couldn't have come at a better time. We're right in the middle of baseball season, and isn't it tomorrow that opens Packers training camp? Yes. And my guess is that there's quite a few Packers fans or football fans out there this evening. Our next selection was considered by one television critic the greatest in-house PR machine in pro sports history. I'm sure as you listen to this, you'll be able to hear and picture the deep, powerful baritone narrator describing action on the screen, as well as images of slow motion and sideline game day shots. Football fans will recognize Up She Rises, The Lineman, Ramblin' Man from Gramblin', Roundup, and the Lombardi Trophy reprise. Here's Michael Brown's arrangement of NFL Films' Music of the Gridiron. 1976, an American sports drama film was written by and starred Sylvester Stallone. You all know the rags to riches story of boxer Rocky Balboa. The movie was made on a budget of just over $1 million, if you can believe that. But it became one of the highest grossing films in 1976, raking in over $225 million. Pretty good return on their $1 million, I'd say, huh? It also received 3 Oscars, including Best Film, and that did wind up making Sylvester Stallone a major motion picture star. Here's Wayne Scott's arrangement of Bill Conti's Gonna Fly Now.
Gentlemen, and welcome to today's matchup between the Fond du Lac Symphonic Band and Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. It's going to be very exciting. We have a beautiful, beautiful evening here. There's a few clouds in the sky, but not many. And with me is an expert that we brought on. His name is Dr. David Thompson. Please, Dr. Thompson, come in and say hello, Doctor.
I hope that...
Yeah, that's enough now.
Okay.
Calm down. Just settle down.
Oh, okay. There.
All right.
Now I can hear myself.
Yes, you have to be able to hear yourself. So, what do you think? Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, a pretty tall order for a symphonic band, don't you think, Doc?
OMG, Steve. It is a tall order for a symphonic band to tackle such a well-known orchestral work.
Yes, it is.
But don't count them out.
Okay.
This is going to be exciting, and I can't wait to hear the expertise of these fine musicians.
Absolutely.
As they take on one of the standards in the classical repertoire. Mm-hmm. It is a huge job, Steve, for a band to take on a major orchestral work such as Beethoven's Fifth. You know, Steve, this work, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, Opus 67, was written between 1804 and 1808.
4 years.
And it is one of the most popular and best-known compositions in the classical music, and it's one of the most frequently played symphonies in the repertoire. And
right.
Now, it was first performed in Vienna with Beethoven himself conducting in 1808, and this work finally achieves...
Well, listen, that's all very, very interesting, I'm sure. But we have to move on. As exciting as your commentary is, David, it's time for the coin toss.
Oh.
Ready for the coin toss? Okay. Here's the big question about the coin toss. Will the musical director be in charge, or will he leave it up to the principal clarinetist?
Good question.
Let's see what happens here. And there's the coin toss. Our principal clarinetist called tails. And it's heads. It's heads. Heads it is. So what this means, ladies and gentlemen, our music director is going to be in charge after all, and he will deliver the downbeat. And they're off with a 4-note theme. Now, I don't know whether it's slow or fast because they keep stopping, folks. Doesn't seem like they're able to get this thing off the ground. But it does look like they're getting up to a cadence here.
Oh, the first clarinets didn't cut off. They weren't watching. I'm surprised they didn't get called for holding.
There's that 4-note theme again, and another stop. They just can't seem to get this thing off the ground.
Tell me, Steve, do you think you would call that 4-note idea a theme or a motif?
Well, Dave, the technical term would be motif that he uses to build a theme.
Oh, thanks for setting me straight on that.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, we're heading into the second theme section here, and we can look for a little bit of modulation down there on the field. Whoa! Did you hear that, Steve? Somebody in that horn section really flubbed that note. That has got to be one of the worst fumbles I've ever witnessed in all my days. I think that was Claire Corno, wasn't it, Steve?
Well, yes, it was, David.
Well, we're going to be having an instant replay on that.
Instant replay. Here we go.
Okay, there is no doubt about that. Let's see. And the referee has ruled in favor of the conductor. He has slapped a 30-bar penalty on the offending horn player, who is now on her way out to the penalty box.
That is Claire Corno in the first chair, and that's the third major flop she's made this season, giving her a solo average for the season of approximately .24733, David, which is, you know, pretty darn low for a first chairperson.
Steve, do you think there's some chance that she might be traded to another band?
Well, I don't know, Dave. It's pretty hard to say. Claire Corno has a very good, was very good at the long shot solos, things like the Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto. So I think if she pulls herself together a bit, they'll keep her around. Although I suppose, you never know.
Okay, we're off again now, Steve.
All right.
And the band is playing without its first horn, which means we can be looking for a power play from the conductor pretty soon. That's a pretty stiff penalty, Steve, isn't it? 30 bars?
Oh, 30 bars. Yes, it is, Dave. Although these bars go by pretty fast, so it really isn't that much in terms of time. I think the longest time anyone has ever stayed in the penalty box was when George Zell played with the Philadelphia Orchestra in 1955, and the entire French horn section spent the whole movement in the penalty box. Of course, that was in spite of that, the Phillies came out on top that year.
Yes, I think I remember reading about that, yes. That's right. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Steve. I think we're heading into the development section here.
Right.
So let's see what happens after that double bar. Well, the horns are going to be starting things off here, and they seem to be in pretty good shape now. And I get the feeling that we're going to be hearing a lot of that 4-note motif. Don't you, Steve?
Yes, I do, Dave.
Well, so do I, Steve. That's right. There it is again. And it sounds like they're probably stuck with that for quite a while. So I think we ought to take a little station break for station identification here.
All right. This is WSFB, Wall-to-Wall Symphonic Band, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Okay, we're back now, folks, and there's something going on out there. It's really building up tension. The brass is coming in, and the timpani, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think we might be building up to a feud. No, it's not a feud. The clarinets tried to make it one, but the basses just did not follow up. No, instead of a feud, now they seem to be taking that theme and breaking it up into little pieces. Just 2 notes left of that theme. They're tossing it around there. It's getting softer and softer down there. I think they're running out of steam, if you want to know the truth. It's getting just a little bit lethargic. Only 1 note left of that theme now, being tossed around from player to player. Oh, wait a minute. Here come the brasses trying to pep things up. A welcome relief, but I'm afraid to no avail. Things are still pretty solemn down there. It's pretty quiet. Wait, here they come again. They sound very determined, for sure. And I think we've reached the recap, Steve.
Well, there's no doubt about it, David. Your average Beethoven symphony has a recap after the second quarter, and this one's falling right in line.
It is. Well, let's see if those clarinets can cut off with the rest of the band in this cadence that's coming up here. Oh, this time it's the oboe holding it. Wait! She's playing a cadenza.
What?
She must be out of her mind.
What?
She thinks it's an oboe concerto. The conductor is protesting. I've never heard anything like that. Steve, have you?
Well, I certainly haven't, David. I think it was a disgraceful display of lack of teammanship, and boy, I wouldn't be surprised if...
She's attacking the conductor.
Oh,
The referee is trying to say he's had to separate them. I'm telling you, you don't want to mess with her.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, neither can I. You know, I think we're going to have a ruling on that now.
Well, I hope so.
And, how about that? I think he has ruled in favor of the band. I guess that cadenza must have been written into the part after all, and there is a delay of game penalty. A 34-bar penalty against Shipe himself, who is now over there in the penalty box, and he'll be lucky to get back in time for the second theme. Well, I guess Getch knew what she was doing, Steve.
You know, she usually does, and this time she not only scored a personal solo, but she also made it possible for the band to recover from Claire Corno's fumble there in the exposition.
That was a bad one, too.
Oh, it was a bad one.
I think we're getting ready to resume play now. The referee has given the captain of the band the sign.
Here we go.
And they're off. They're off again. They're doing pretty well, I think. They're really making up for lost time. Anyway, it seems we're in the home stretch here, folks. They've got the second theme coming up. We should be in C minor, right up to the double bar. Oh, the director is back on the mound. He's taking over. Hey, this is really something, Steve. You know, this piece is being billed as being in C minor, and yet it looks as though it's going to end in C major.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
this is really something, Dave. What?
Oh, wait a minute. Looks like we have an injury in the bass section. The referee has blown the whistle. Yep, the referee has blown the whistle. That's what he's done. What do you think, Steve? Is that a groin injury?
Well, David, it does look like a groin injury. That's what happens when you have to lug around that big old tuba all the time.
Oh, he's on his way out.
You know, management is always trying to save on costs, especially in the bass section, which usually contains some of the biggest instruments in the club. And they're required to carry around their own instruments and squeeze into little spaces much too close together.
Well, that's what happens, right?
That's right, that's what happens. Management squeezing the budget again.
Yep. Okay, well,
And then this is a result.
Yes. Oh, I tell you what, we got a substitution here.
That's contraband.
She looks like
That is contraband.
She looks like she's from a different league, if you ask me.
That's for sure. How did that get in?
Oh, listen to that. I think this is going to be a whole new ball game, Steve. Okay, they're getting ready to resume play now. And we're off. The band has only a few more bars to go to the first downbeat. Yes, things are really beginning to roll here. They've added the woodwinds. They've thrown in the brass and the timpani. And it's tooting all the way, folks. They've got a great drive going on out there. Looks like we're coming into the home stretch, Steve.
Well, David, it's been a good match.
It has. It's been a very good match indeed. And I think it's something that they all be very proud of themselves. Really
So
fine
too.
job.
I think you're right.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. The brasses are taking the theme. They're not letting it stop. Steve, this piece is definitely going to go into overtime. I can tell that. Let me tell you, nobody knows where that theme is. I can't tell what they're doing out there. It's just all confusion.
Pretty exciting.
There's a lot of running around down there. Nobody knows where the theme is. Okay, believe me, folks, it's very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Okay, the crowd is going wild. They've got a... I don't know what they're doing with that theme. They've got a new theme going on out there. I can't believe it, Steve. Do you know where this new theme comes from?
Well, David, it probably comes from, I don't know.
Well, thanks a lot, Steve. You're a big help. Well, they're tossing it around now. The woodwinds have it, and then the brass. Nobody seems to keep his or her hands on that theme. Believe me, folks, the people in the stands are just as confused as the players. It's just going back and forth all over the band now. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait a minute now. The woodwinds have got a hold of things.
Yes.
The woodwinds have got a hold, and they are not going to let go.
Not gonna let go.
What's this? It sounds like another recap. It sounds like they're going right back to the beginning. If this is true, this is the first time in 40 years of concert casting that I've ever heard anything like that. I can't imagine what they're doing, but... Oh, wait a minute. Well, they sound like vital chords, though. I think we're coming to the end. I'm watching the referee.
That's it.
And that is it. That is the end of the match.
Beautiful, beautiful, unbelievable.
That was one shot of adrenaline.
Thank you. Great.
Did you like the bat solos? By the tallest and shortest percussion members of the percussion section. And by the way, that was written by Sousa. That was not something we decided to add. Those are Sousa's notes in the score. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.